Hey guys, Brian Schoaf here for BombasticEntertainment.com. Today, I'm going to show you how to replace the battery that keeps your save game alive in all your favorite retro game carts. Now, I'm going to be working on a Game Boy game primarily, but the ideas and techniques are the same regardless if you're trying to fix an old Game Boy cartridge, a Super Nintendo game, N64, what have you. And I'll do my best to point out the small differences as we go along. Now, opening up your games can seem intimidating, but there really isn't a lot to it. The screws that hold the casing together on most of these older games are 3.8mm security screws, so for that you're going to need a driver. You can find this on Amazon. Now, our main tool here is going to be a soldering iron, and we're also going to need some fresh solder. It doesn't take much, and as you'll see, a little goes a long way. I'm also going to use a small pick to help lift the battery off the board, but a small screwdriver or needle nose pliers would work just the same. You'll also want a small grip or a vise to hold things in place as you work. It's not mandatory, but it does make things a lot easier, so I highly recommend it. Okay, first we're going to open our cartridge up. Now, there isn't a lot in here, it's just 2 halves of a case, and the game board is an all-in-one deal. Just set those screws somewhere, you're not going to lose them. Now, if we take a look at our board here, you can see the battery is face down, so you can't quite see what kind of battery you're going to need until you take it off. Some games had the battery number written on the board, and right here you can see just above our battery, we're dealing with a CR1616. So you'll have to order one with solder tabs, and those are easily available online. I also got this off Amazon.com. On the sides of the battery, you can see the solder tabs. So all that's involved is just heating up these points as you lift the battery, and the whole thing should come off without much trouble. Super Nintendo is exactly the same, but the key difference on those games is the solder points are on the back side of the game board. And what you want to do here is heat the contacts with your iron and then use a desoldering pump to suck away the solder. Repeat for the second terminal, and your battery should pretty much fall right out. A desoldering pump is exactly what it sounds like. It's a spring-loaded pump that will suck away solder in a quick blast. N64 games are a little bit different when you open them up. You'll find this metallic cover over the game board. This just removes with a Phillips screwdriver. Just grip the shell and just kind of wiggle it free. And now it's the same thing as the Super Nintendo. There's our battery, and your solder points are going to be on the back side of the board. All right, I'm just going to heat this and just lift a little bit. All right, got that side up, so I'm going to use the pliers to just grip right here while I just gently pull. Okay, so now that we got our battery off, we're going to need to tin the solder points on our new battery. Solder flows to hot. That's very important to remember. I see a lot of people just forcing beads of solder onto things, and that's not only wasteful, it can create a bad connection. So what you want to do is warm the connector right at the tip, and when you've heated that up, then bring the solder to the iron and it'll flow onto the connector. This process is called tinning. It's also important to wipe your soldering iron clean with a damp rag or sponge. Only solder with a clean iron. Now, once you've tinned your battery tabs, take a look at the board. You shouldn't have to tin these terminals unless all the solder came off with the old battery. Okay, all right, I'm just going to press this down a bit just to get it nice and snug with the board. And that's it, we're done. You can seal your case back up, pop your game in, and enjoy. Now, like I said, the process is exactly the same regardless of what kind of system cartridge you're trying to change out. There's only minor differences between systems, like the N64 having that extra shell, and you would just take your battery and bend the tabs straight back so that they slot into the holes. But other than that, the same idea and techniques are universal. Just pay careful attention to the orientation of things as you take them apart and you should have no issues replacing your old game batteries. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter, leave a comment below, and if you found this video helpful, please subscribe. It would help us out a lot. And don't forget to check out bombasticentertainment.com to see what we're up to. Game on.